Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com. This is Texas Podcast Massacre.
Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, Mitch, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Lisa.
Down a Castle Rock.
And Nate.
The cat is literally out of the bag this episode.
Yes, that is right. So this week, we are back doing our bonus episodes of Castle Rock. We are on episode 9, appropriately titled Henry Deaver.
Who?
Henry Deaver.
You mean that guy, Henry Deaver?
Well, which guy?
The other
Ooh.
guy, Henry Deaver?
Yes, all the Henry Deavers.
All the Henry Deavers.
Is your name Henry Deaver? This episode is for you.
Yeah, it's like you get a Henry Deaver. You get a Henry Deaver. Everybody
Henry
gets a
Deavers
Henry
everywhere. Yeah, oh yeah.
Like, look under your cage. There's a Henry Deaver waiting for you.
Oh man. So this episode, so one of our good friends who refuses to be an unsuspecting victim on this episode, on this podcast, and that's probably a good life choice, messaged me afterwards, and he said he couldn't wait for this episode review because it blew his mind. And I've got to agree with that overall general view of this episode. It is pretty mind-blowing, although I do think we all kind of knew we were going this way, but some of the revelations were still pretty shocking. Nate, what was your overall thought about this episode?
It was just really weird to see business casual Pennywise at the start. Jarring. Bill Skarsgård's like, I'm going to dress in normal clothes and like talk like a normal person. I mean, it doesn't totally work because he's always creepy-esque, right?
Yeah,
but
you know, if you buy whatever he's selling, you'll float 40% more than if you didn't. I can increase your floating percentages.
it was like Scary Terry when Scary Terry goes home in that Rick and Morty episode. It's like you get to see the home life of the really creepy guy. And that's kind of what we saw in the beginning of this episode.
Yeah.
Hey, you said you weren't going to bring your anger home.
Yeah. Hey, you leave that out there, not in here.
Although I just want to claim victory for my call that Bill Skarsgård was not the bad guy. So I just want to claim that off the bat from the previous episode.
I mean, look, I'm not saying that you're incorrect, but he's acting very weird after being locked up in a cage for 27 years. He's not helping.
Normal for being locked in a cage for 27 years.
He's not helping his case, is my point. You know, he definitely with the weird dancing with Henry's mom.
His
well, no,
mom?
it's his mom. Oh, see that?
We already just pulled that bandage off. That's right. When we say Henry Deaver, he was actually saying his name at the very beginning of the episode.
That's crazy.
Or the very beginning of the season.
You know what drives me crazy, though?
What?
I hate it when they do recaps and they do something that's intentionally incredibly important to that episode and they give it away.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop watching previously on because that I think made us catch it a lot sooner than we would have. When we're like, oh, he's also Henry Deaver.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I would say don't worry because previously on was like, oh, remember when Jackie Torrance was a character? Now she's gone again. It's like, oh, wait. All the characters are now gone for another episode.
So I thought this episode was fantabulous.
Fantabulous. Yeah. So
it was extremely well done.
Yeah. You are definitely getting very into this show, which is a good thing for our...
Oh, I've been excited for the show since they announced it.
Well, for the unsuspecting victims in your lives, listeners out there, or if you are an unsuspecting victim yourself, you could take that to the bank that this is a worthwhile show to check out, it seems.
I would definitely recommend it. You don't necessarily have to be a big Stephen King fan. Like, if you are, you're going to get a lot more of the references. But if you're not, it's still a really good show. It's not overly scary. Like, I don't think there's been anything that's really scared me. It's kind of more like a drama thriller kind of thing than it is horror.
Sure.
But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to this last episode to see how they wrap it up.
Well, let's talk about some of these alternate timeline differences, because that's really what we're seeing here. This is, this is a time travel-y episode because we go back to where the Henry we've known and loved has been when he went missing those several days in the woods. And then of course we have let's set some ground rules. We're gonna just call him Tall Henry and Short Henry.
No, there's creepy Henry and non-creepy.
I don't know that makes a lot more.
I'm calling him Skarsgård Henry.
Okay, Skarsgård and Henry. We'll stick with Skarsgård and Henry. He's still Skarsgård. Yeah.
Sure, that's right.
So, but they are both Henry. They're both, in fact, one and the same.
I did like the second that they did the reveal. Then the caption started saying the kid / Henry.
I did like it. Well, yeah, right. I did like that they also had to find like the exact opposite of what Skarsgård is. Like, we don't want to tip our hat that they're the same person. So let's make sure we don't get a kind of a wide eye, sulky, gangly white guy. So I did like that little tip. What I thought was interesting in these two realities is that in the one we've been focused on, we certainly see the warden is the one that actually locks up Henry. But in the current reality, or the other reality, it's Henry's father. He does it as the priest. And I guess my question is, so why do y'all think the warden is the one that was kind of charged with this versus it being Henry? Would it have been Henry's dad if Henry's dad was still alive in this other reality?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if it's charged. It's just they just noticed that bad things were following the people first. The Henrys in their non-normal realities.
But he locked him up like almost right away.
Well, yeah, because they were like, ooh, this person is weird, saying they're from somewhere else and knowing things about me because I am also the dad of this person in this other timeline.
No,
right?
that
So
makes sense.
About me.
But why would the warden?
Well, yeah, because did we see the warden at any point?
In the alternate timeline,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, so who knows? But it's kind of like, back in the day, there were multiple communities that were like, something bad happened. Which? Like, let's burn the way. Like, they were independent of each other in these, like, small towns, right? But they're all like, those are witches. Let's do something with them.
Right.
Same thing here. Dad was just like, this guy's saying random shit, and then I saw a couple bad things happen, lock him in a cage.
Right, but I guess the point is why
like, something bad happened.
That timeline makes sense. What doesn't make sense is why the warden immediately locked up Skarsgård.
I think it's the warden is the weird factor for me on this. I totally get why.
Was it immediately?
From what Skarsgård said,
we don't know how long it was.
From what Skarsgård said, he kind of wandered out of the woods, ran into the warden, and the warden locked him up.
Yeah, but he doesn't age or anything, so it could have been a long time in between. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it happened pretty soon when Henry comes back. At least that's what the episode implies when they show him in the trunk. Because he even says you still look the same after 27 years.
It's fuzzy on the details.
At least within a month or so of this happening.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true because he had a creepy mustache in the very beginning. That was a little bit different. That stash was very creepy. So at least mustaches still grow in the alternate universe. So at least we know that.
So one major revelation for me was that young Henry, that's what I'll call him, young Henry, had been locked up for 20 some odd years in the alternate timeline. But when he gets back to his timeline, it's only been a few days. So do we think that even though Skarsgård's been locked up for 27 years, it's only been a few days in his timeline?
That's the part that makes no sense.
Well-
so I have no clue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I don't know.
clearly he's trying to get back to his own timeline.
I think when he goes back, I think you're right. I think it'll be not as much time will have passed.
I hope not.
But what is interesting is that his timeline is further accelerated though, because everyone is already an adult.
That's true.
Versus when Henry goes in as a kid at the very beginning, everyone's much younger. It's much earlier in the whole sequence.
Yeah.
And so that part's kind of throwing me off. Again, this is I will say this is where my distaste for some of the Abrams stuff gets to me, because we're playing a little fast and loose with the time travel rules here. Alternate realities are fine, but
I think it's okay.
Yeah, I thought it was too much. If it was just the time, I mean, the story wouldn't make sense if it wasn't a back in time situation. So, I mean,
he literally went back to the future.
But then
he did. He went.
You
went back. It's like a traumatized Back to the Future. That's
like
what it was.
we were missing a DeLorean and someone running around going, "Great Scott!"
like imagine like Marty McFly comes back and he just has PTSD the whole time. Like that's what this is.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's Morty. It's Morty. That's what we got.
Yeah. So my assumption is, and I'm already making a call for the finale, is that Bill Skarsgård ends up going back to his time.
No duh.
I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? I mean, that seems like an easy one. So, all right, so let's go over the rules of this, because I some of the rules don't make a whole lot of sense to me for the schisma time travel alternate universes, right?
Yeah.
So you go to a certain place in the woods. Some people are more sensitive to figuring out where that area is, right? Then when you go there, you see the past and the future in that area, including things from the 1700s and ladies stabbing themselves, and then bullets that get shot upward then go sideways.
So she didn't stab herself. So when he's listening in the alternate timeline, when Skarsgård is listening to his dad's tapes after he passes away, he talks about the French settlement where everyone died, but a young girl who had to basically turn to cannibalism. So I'm pretty sure that's her.
No, I know that's her. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't think she was stabbing herself.
Whatever. You see the past. And
that's the exact kind of detail you always get hung up on. Why are you saying whatever?
No, I'm just saying you see the past, some random person, like they're there. And then you also see other pasts or the future in the case of young Henry when he was kidnapped. It really makes no sense as to what's happening.
They were all touched by a schisma. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It was so strange how the teleportation worked. I get that there might be a spot where things get weird and maybe you could see or maybe even like walk through, but like it was all changing so rapidly. It was really, it seemed just very random. It would be awesome if they were all on the same timeline and then you could go between the timelines. It'd be like Fringe.
Are the timelines going to be the different seasons?
Well, I mean, I hope not, considering we know now what happens to one of the.
So,
well, that's
we
the
don't know what
thing
happens to those
kinda,
escaped prison people.
True.
It's kind of a cop out because if you go alternate realities, you can just say like, yeah, we can just do this forever. Like that kind of sucks too. I hope they don't, but in theory, you could if you have alternate timelines. But anyway, more rules. You get to another timeline by going through this schisma's weird rules that make no sense. Then you get to another place and you don't age, right? So you don't age. And then everyone around you is like, something's wrong. This person's in the wrong reality. So I'm going to like start lighting fires or killing myself or killing my family or hanging myself or shooting a million people.
I guess it's
right?
the timeline trying
rule?
to fix itself.
Yeah.
But how is the timeline trying to fix itself if people are killing themselves? Shouldn't they be trying to kill him?
It's the butterfly effect. Something happens and it screws everything up.
But what? Because if he gets locked in a cage, then nothing happens. So it's like it's just the aura around him. I'm wondering what the range of this is.
I'm thinking that you got Abramsed, and now you're thinking too hard about it.
I got Abrams. Yeah, this is like the Stockholm syndrome. You guys
we were trying to warn you, Nate. We were
the
trying
second it happened. Mitch and I looked at each other and said, "We got Abrams."
Yeah, it's Ghosts of Abrams Pass coming to
Yeah. So my question is, if you are in this other timeline, you don't die, or you don't age, so you stay the same. But can you die in the other timeline?
I would assume so.
I would think so, but if you don't age, I'm wondering if it's like you can't really like fundamentally be changed. I don't know. That wouldn't make much sense either. But it
creates a lot of questions, right? Like for instance, if the warden and if his dad both thought that both Henrys were demons or whatever, why didn't they try to kill them? Why did they think keeping them captive?
Because God told them to lock him up.
That's what I'm wondering, if maybe they couldn't kill him.
Oh, if they tried?
So they locked him up.
Maybe.
That was kind of my thing. Like, can they die? If they can, then they should have killed him. If not, then that makes total
and they
sense.
both have the same sort of story, right? Yeah, that God told them that this, they have to lock him up, never let him see the light of day. I'm curious, what is God in this case for them? Like, where did they get that, right? Like, where are they getting that message? And not in a philosophical sense. I really mean, like, they both have this sort of, I've got this idea that I have to lock this person up. I wonder where they got that.
I think it's because they were sensitive to the schisma also, because the dad was always trying to go out, right, and find things in the one reality.
Right.
Wondering if certain people are sensitive to it, and they're sensitive to the fact that this person doesn't belong and is like negative and bad. And I'm wondering if that then drives them to do it. So obviously the dad was dead in our main timeline, our original one. So then the when he was wandering around the woods, the warden of the prison maybe either found him or he went to prison and he like felt it, and then he's like, "Ooh, I'm just gonna lock this dude up." I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's a good thought. I mean, it's good. It's as good a guess as any for sure. No, I feel like that's probably the right answer.
Now let's talk about alternate Castle Rock. By far a way better Castle Rock. Can we agree on this?
Well, it's a low bar. I mean, as long as you don't trip over the bar, you'll clear it. That's how low it is.
There was like gastropubs. It was like kind of like a trendy small city.
Yeah, there were people.
There was a Claiborne Creamery, which I saw in the episode. It's ice cream. It's for Dolores Claiborne. It was pretty good reference, Stephen King wise there. It seemed like it was a much better town and a place that you would much rather live in than this original one. Did you have any opinions, Lisa, on the alternate town?
So younger Henry made it better.
I guess I don't know. I don't know. It did seem like this one was like, oh yeah, like not everyone's living in a house where a piano fell through the second floor. Like it seemed like it was just a nicer
Well, I
place
mean,
in general.
I think the likelihood of that is lower. I mean, per capita. I don't think it necessarily didn't happen. Not everything in this timeline is different. But I do like that his mom has left his dad, that relationship and is actually with Pangborn. I thought that was a nice little touch.
Yeah, that was great after the Queen episode. That was very nice.
He's doing Alzheimer's. Henry decided to dedicate his life to researching Alzheimer's versus in this reality, we have lawyer Deaver and scientist Deaver, basically.
Yeah.
So the two big questions that I have both revolve around Molly. Because one, who shot her? Because I don't think it was the prison guard. And two, now I'm really confused as to what happened the night that she killed Henry's dad.
Well, let's unpack her getting shot. So, Molly in this current timeline, basically gets the she gets the compulsion to basically say, no, he needs to go back to his time. That's how we fix this, is we bring him back. And so she convinces both Henrys to go together. They're avoiding the police officer who's trying to chase him down, who is firing his gun in the air to try to scare them as he's chasing them on foot through the woods. And then she somehow gets shot, although the police officer says, I didn't do it. I was shooting up in the air. I wasn't aiming at anyone. Do y'all have any theories on...
I think someone shot the gun through the schisma and it rippled through and hit her.
Well, that's what happened with the policeman. He shot it through the schisma. He hit the schisma is like a dome, and he hit the top.
Oh God! Is this Stephen King's The Dome?
It came sideways, and then it came sideways.
This is not Portals.
Awesome.
Well, but didn't Stephen King have the dome in that one of his as well?
Yeah, under the dome.
Yeah,
Under the dome.
that was the reference. That was the reference.
Bad.
That's
reference.
the joke. What? So Molly had the shinin in both timelines.
Yeah, and it was interesting that in the alternate timeline, when she touches young Henry's hand, then she sees herself as a young girl killing Henry's father. That was confusing.
It seems like like everyone has kind of innate characteristics that don't really change throughout the timelines, but obviously different events happen, right?
Right.
So, and people can be changed, but it seems like there are some just characteristics of people that are consistent across all the timelines, and then some that get changed just depending on what happens in the alternate timeline. So that was interesting to see, because then that means that there are additional rules to this to the schisma. But again, they're not very consistent, so who knows? But it was cool that she had the shining in both. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, so there's some predetermination, even if there's apparently no predetermination because of alternate timeline.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was his bullet that shot her. I don't know if it came from somewhere else. Lisa, do you think it came from somewhere else, or that's your thought?
That's my thought, because she was in the schisma with young Henry when she got shot, right?
Yeah.
She was like, could see the other people as well. So I think someone in there shot a bullet. I don't know if it was the guy chasing the state prisoners or someone else we didn't see.
Yeah, I'm curious if there's something to that, only because, if you're not aware of the schisma, can you shoot into it? Can you cross into it without being like, they only saw it because they were touching Henry.
Yeah.
Like they were holding his hand. I don't know that the police officer was aware of the schisma. So if he shoots toward it, does it still matter?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
I don't know. Maybe I'm sure there's an answer around this in Fringe in some season where they talk about all the temporal soft spots and everything.
Yeah, I guess another thing that was similar was the dog was Puck in both universes, alternate timelines also.
Yeah.
So they're the same dog even. So there's a lot of similarities to all this stuff.
It was nice to see the schisma come back around as not some dumb thing, but actually the central focus of the show.
Yeah, although I was thinking like with your whole like bullet scenario, like aren't we thinking, isn't that like alternate timelines or time travel and like bullet physics things? Isn't this like just exactly the same as what is it, Mitch? I don't remember 11/36/85 or whatever it's called.
Donnie Darko.
No.
Stephen King's novel about Franco going back in time to save JFK.
Oh, I got the wrong time. Sorry, I was looking at some of Donnie Darko earlier. That's
a great book. Very long.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, maybe.
I never remember the numbers. I just say like 11/176.
It's the day that JFK got shot, Nate. Jeez.
It's also on Hulu, but it seemed like once I'd seen that, I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of similar to that.
Yeah.
But I guess it's an homage to Stephen King, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't realize that. I was stuck on Donnie Darko, so I was wrong.
But that one doesn't
I heard
really.
Numbers and got excited.
I mean, he goes back in time, but it doesn't like bend realities. I feel like this. I don't know.
Well, someone
shot her
because they don't belong. I mean, I think I think we can almost pretty much definitively say that because they don't belong, that's what's compelling people to act out in the opposite timeline, right? So that family that, murdered themselves or whatever when he's crashing the birthday party, they're doing it because he doesn't belong there. But it is him. So his being there caused that. So we'll have to go back on the tape and see the exact wording on our water bet, not water bet, but our Kraken bet.
And
I feel like that's a win for me.
And actually, I'm gonna call that it was the police officer who shot Molly, because they bring back the same guy who has shot everyone in the prison. I just think throughout the schisma, this guy is destined to shoot people. So I'm gonna stick with that. Now that I think about it.
Okay, we'll find out soon. Now let's go to your other question that you had, which was,
why does Molly kill Henry's father? Yeah, I'm confused on that one. Unless when she touched young Henry's hand, she saw the hate and animosity and the way he was treated by that guy, and somehow it alternate reality to her other self. I don't know.
So can the shinning work across multiple realities? I don't think so.
Yeah, me either. But maybe.
But I don't quite know when his dad gets murdered while he's missing. I don't think he's there, like he's found yet.
I think it is when they find him. I think it's after Skarsgård saves him.
You think so?
I think that's when it happens. Because remember, we're talking about a matter of days versus years.
Sure. Well, so I wonder then if. All right. Well, okay. So my current theory has been that she was compelled to do it by Skarsgård, or that it wasn't her doing it, sort of thing. I'm curious if we're talking, we don't know when Skarsgård got picked up by the warden. If Skarsgård goes back to Molly's house to see if she's alive in this reality, and then that's what triggers her going over to kill the dad. I don't know. I don't know. Now that we've introduced time jumpy,
it's very confusing.
Alternate reality thing. I don't know. I'm getting.
That's one thing, though.
That's
one thing, though. I don't think they're going to explain. They're just going to let it go.
Oh, you think they're not even going to touch on it? Just
on why Molly did it?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Oh wow.
I don't think so. They're just going to chalk it up to some weird. I don't know.
The
whatever.
schisma. You just said the
pretty
schisma.
much the schisma. Yeah,
you've done it. Yeah.
So predictions for the last episode. Does Skarsgård go back? Does he die in this timeline? What do y'all think?
I think he makes it back, happy ending. Or maybe it's like while you were sleeping, and then his fiance or something finds someone else, and then he comes back. Or like it's like Castaway. Maybe it's like that too, where you like come back after a long time, and then it's like, oh, that sucks. Oh, you also don't remember any of your Alzheimer's research where you brought a cat literally out of the bag and made it smarter. Nope, you forgot all that being in a cage for decades.
Yeah, how much?
That sucks. And then now you're in this world you know nothing about anymore, and then you're stuck there, and it's like Castle Rock, the end.
Well, that's a good point, Nate. How much of Henry's childhood did he forget when he comes back? Because they mentioned that he doesn't remember where, what happened when he comes back. Did he forget all of his childhood up to that point?
So is Skarsgård going to forget where he was?
That's what I'm going with.
I think he had just forgot the part where he was gone. He didn't forget his childhood because he remembered his dad taking him out to the woods before he got teleported and his dad died. He remembered that, right?
Yeah. I think so.
But he doesn't remember the schisma and everything because he's asked his mom, "What were we doing out there?"
Yeah. I'm saying he just doesn't remember the part where he was in the alternate timeline, but everything else I think he remembers.
No, I don't think he does though, because I don't think he remembers going out there to see this. Because when they explain the schisma to him, he's like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" He doesn't remember getting dragged out there
all the times going out there, not just the one where he actually crossed over. John.
Yeah, but I don't think he knew it was called the schisma. I think he's like, my dad sucks.
Oh, that's fair.
Right.
That's fair. I don't know that he explained. Who knows what?
Yeah.
With all the religious mumbo jumbo from that guy, who knows what? I also don't wonder if we're gonna see anything more about this creepy Children of the Corn thing that they just introduced for one episode and that's it.
Well, in the alternate reality, it was like a thriving, nice place
Yeah.
instead of Lord of the Flies.
So yeah, the current reality, which I assume is supposed to be ours, is definitely the one where Pennywise exists. Because it's definitely the worst. This is gonna just end with them saying we're in the worst time zone.
We're in the darkest timeline.
Yeah, the darkest timeline. Yeah, exactly. I think that's where we're gonna end on this show. Do we have any theory on who dies next, or does anyone else die before the end of the show?
Molly.
All right, so Lisa, you're calling Molly.
I think she dies in every timeline, so yes.
Okay. Nate, what about you?
So previously, I said that Molly would die for Henry, and I was right. Not the correct age. Of
Wrong Henry.
No, it was the same Henry, just the younger Henry in the different
Wrong
timeline.
Molly.
I'm still counting it because Molly died for Henry. So I'm going to count that as a win, even though it was in an alternate reality. Molly's got to die. I hope Bill Skarsgård gets the happy ending. I don't know what else they do anymore other than get him back to the other timeline. Like, I don't. So now that he knows, now that Molly knows, what happened, because he was like explaining what happened, right, to her during the episode. My assumption is she tries to help him, maybe dies from another bullet. What if the same bullet hits her from the schisma going like two different directions because it's like time travel?
Damn.
That'd be hilarious. And then Skarsgård gets back. That's my guess. What about you, Mitch?
Man, I don't know. If you're asking me who I think is going to die, I could see both. I could see both Henrys dying.
Okay. To close the timelines.
Right. Now, whether that's they actually die, getting shot blood, or if they're if they end up getting trapped in the schisma like the other people, and it's just they just live in the schisma forever, but they're not living in their timelines. Maybe that's how they die. But I call that.
What if all of a sudden like Arnold Schwarzenegger's in the woods? Would that help? Would that
Get to
help
that chopper.
Yeah, if he's looking for a leather jacket and wearing sunglasses,
yeah,
I've come to Henry Diva.
Get to the schisma.
I would love if they told like the story of the schisma from that Bullet's perspective, like the Korn music, music video.
Yeah, freak on the leash.
The bullet.
Yeah.
It goes through Molly. It keeps going through like timelines, like across woods forever. Keep hitting random things. That would be awesome.
I just want to see the show end. Now you got me thinking this. I want to see the show end with like it's all peaceful and quiet, and then the schisma opens up, and then you see Arnold Schwarzenegger walk out, and you get the Terminator 2, the dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun.
that'd be
and he
awesome.
puts on the sunglasses and walks off looking for like John Connor. Like boom, done. That's how he came in. Oh,
Yeah, but your thing about that is that Terminator has very specific time jump rules. You can only go one way and now going back. So I don't know if that would work in the schisma.
that's fair. That's fair.
Scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. The Terminator time travel rules are easily the best. That should be a debate question.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, that should be a debate question in a future episode. Yeah. So, do you? Last question before we wrap it up here. Do you think this show is going to have a traditional happy ending, or do you think it's going to be a dark ending?
I think it's going to have a happy ending. I think Skarsgård's going to get back, but then I think something is going to happen. Something bad is going to happen towards the end. Now, whether that's just for this season or that's going to set us up for next season, I don't know.
No. What about you, Nate?
I want it to be a happy ending where he comes back like young Henry, and it's only maybe he's missed a week, right? And then he's try to start over. But I think something bad he's going to go back, but something bad is going to happen. There's so many alternate timelines. I mean, who knows? Because you can go back to the past in the same timeline or the future, or you can go back to the past or future in an alternate timeline. So, right. I mean, maybe he goes back and it's like, oh, everything's normal except like the pyramids are in Boston and all white people get gender reassignment surgery or something. I mean, who knows?
Well, yeah, it becomes it becomes a Rick and Morty thing, right? How many? There's infinite timelines of infinite possibilities.
Yeah, like every woman has a goatee in this timeline. Like that's like, do you not like that? Too bad. Every woman's got one. Sorry.
Oh man, yeah, I think we're gonna get the mostly happy ending. They'll probably have one little twist in there that I think they set up the next season. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think that happy ending is necessarily Skarsgård going back and like he's not gonna walk through the Skizmo waving goodbye to everyone as he travels back in time. But maybe it closes. Maybe there's something to that effect. Yeah, but I think they'll probably give everyone like the happy ending.
Mitch is you want everyone to get an happy ending. All right, good to know.
I mean, yeah, why not? Let's just lean into it. Geez. All right, well, that's gonna wrap it up for this bonus episode. Nate, where can they meet us in this schisma?
Yeah, you can meet us in the schisma at TX Pod Massacre on Twitter. I don't know what the name of it is in the alternate timeline, so I'm just going to say Twitter. You can check us out on Instagram at Texas Podcast Massacre at gmail.com if you want to email us, and find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and all your other podcast platforms.
That's right. Well, as always, thank you so much for tuning in, and just keep telling yourself it's only a show. Good night.